Y'all killing me with this.
Welcome back to another episode of Lost Aux Media. Thank you again for joining us. In this week's episode, I wanted to talk about fame. In particular, I wanted to talk about two very important aspects of fame that people may not normally consider when watching things online, right? Recently, you had that Tuah girl. She went super viral. She was famous as fuck. She's still famous as fuck, right? And that's one aspect of it. It's the aspect of everyone trying to ride your coattails. You're new into the fame game, and people who have already been there for a while are going to try to use you up in any way they possibly can, right? And the other aspect of fame that I wanted to talk about is the yes man aspect. Nobody embodies this aspect of fame more than Joe Rogan. When you're famous and you're surrounded by all these yes men, when you're either paying your way through whatever industry you're in, or you're just, you struck up some sort of fame through some maybe a network television series deal, like Fear Factor, and you get surrounded by yes men, your perception of reality starts getting clouded, right? And Joe Rogan's perception of reality is extremely clouded when it comes to how good of a stand-up comic he actually is. Now, let's not forget, this is where Joe started, with stand-up comedy. That's how he even got on Fear Factor, which is what skyrocketed his career. That's what launched it all. We wouldn't have the Joe Rogan experience if it wasn't for his stand-up comedy in the first place. And I'll tell you what, nobody's gotten luckier than Joe Rogan. Now, we're going to get into the Tuah girl a little later on. She had some very odd appearances on Whitney Cummings' Good For You, and a very, very creepy and strange appearance on Bill Mahr's Club Random. I normally don't talk about Club Random because it gets covered like every episode of Red Bar, but this shit was way too creepy to not talk about. We'll get into all that a little bit later. Right now, I kind of want to take a stroll down memory lane and go into some of the Joe Rogan stand-up that I was talking about, right? And how bad it is. This new comedy special that he just came out with, it's called Burn the Boats. Supposed to be some metaphor like you're on an island, you burn the boats. There's no turning back. You're going nothing but forward. There's no turning back on this. You burn the boats, you're stuck. You got to live with whatever's there. So it's kind of a metaphor for that. And there was so much hype around this because it was a Netflix live special. The last time they did a live comedy special, I think was Chris Rock. That there might have been one more in between that, but Chris Rock was the last one I remember. And that a lot of pressure on Chris Rock because everybody knew he was going to talk about that Will Smith slap in the face moment, right? And he ended up flubbing. He fucked it up. He fucked up his closing joke. They ended up editing it afterwards and fixing it all up in post, which is normally what happens with these specials. And that's why I thought it was so very interesting that Joe was going to go live. Because he's not that great of a stand-up to begin with. And his last special, we're going to jump into some time codes. His last special was riddled with hard cuts, like crazy hard cuts. He'd be in the middle of a joke, his hand would be here. The next frame, his hand be on his stomach or something. So many different hard cuts and edits that I was very curious as to see if he could even pull this shit off. So the first time code that we're going to get into is from his last special. I want to, like I said, we're going to take a trip down memory lane so you can see what we're working with here. Because this was the last special that he did 6 years ago before this new one. And right out the rip, you can tell it's not off to a good start. This guy is yelling at the fucking crowd. It's like he's trying to be like Sam Kinison or something like that. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that Sam Kinison is like a really big influence of Joe's, but you just see he's just kind of like ripping the whole Sam Kinison thing here by just yelling at the audience, which to me is not funny. Maybe to some people it is, but check this out.
You're like, is he right? Yeah! The Fear Factor guy just hit you with a fucking math quiz. 3 people to go. Listen to me. You're not gonna get this from teachers. We used to be monkeys and we found mushrooms and now we're different. And it's real recent.
Look at that. All right. This was actually, I forgot how perfect this first time code actually was. For so many reasons. Right out the rip, you see the yelling. 3 people ago, the Fear Factor guy hit you with some fucking math. The yelling right out the rip. Then, bringing up the fact that he was the host of Fear Factor, right? He does this every single fucking special. Every single one. I'm the Fear Factor guy. He rides that pop that he gets from the audience. Oh, Fear Factor. This is that yes men type mentality. And the audience can't all be yes men, right? You may not think that. But when you're performing comedy in the same ecosystem, the same bubble, the same crowds all the time, they kind of start turning into yes men, you know? Especially with a character like Joe. Everybody wants something from this guy. So people are naturally, they're going to, if he's performing to those crowds, they're going to give it up for him every time. So you got the yelling, you got the Fear Factor guy, you got the stumbling over his words. He's very good for this. This comedy special was edited, right? In a comedy special like this, when it's edited, they shoot like 3 shows, 3 nights in a row, maybe 2 in one night, 1 the next night, but they'll do like 3 takes of the shit. So you trying to tell me this guy got 3 solid takes on the same show and he still fucking mumbled his words in the final edit? That's insane, right? Let's look at all these examples again. The yelling, the mumbling, the Fear Factor, it's all there.
Listen to me. You're not gonna get this from teachers. We used to be monkeys and we found mushrooms and now we're different. And it's real recent.
See, now the fourth premise that we're going to see a lot throughout this whole special, even the new one. The whole, we're monkeys, we're the mushrooms and the shit. This is all stuff he talks about on his podcast. So if you've seen, I don't know, 2 or 3 different episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience, you kind of like know a good chunk of his act, right? Now this is what I thought was pretty rich about this last special. And I was curious to see if we were going to see this same behavior in the new special. One of the more famous Joe Rogan clips online is when he's having a talk with Brendan Schaub, and Brendan's still fighting in the UFC. And he's talking about wanting to fight this next fighter that he might have a fight with coming up. And Joe pretty much just embarrasses the fuck out of him on his podcast. He tells him, I think that guy would fuck you up. I think you got 1 foot out of the ring. Your heart's not in it. I'm scared that you're going to get hurt really bad, blah, blah, blah. That's cool if you're a friend, you're concerned about that. But he did that shit live on air. Embarrassed the fuck out of Brendan. And I thought that was funny because that's kind of what led Brendan into stand-up. And then Brendan ended up being the laughingstock of the stand-up community. And Joe was one of those people laughing. He's still friends with Brendan, as most of the people making fun of him are. But he still stayed part of that crowd that made fun of Brendan. And in Brendan's special, Gringo Poppy, everybody made fun of the fact that Brendan kind of acted like a girl. He kind of danced around the ring and was, the stage I'm at. See, I'm getting the MMA and the stand-up confused. He's dancing around the stage, acting like a little girl. And then I was revisiting this comedy special to prepare for the new one coming out. And Joe's acting the same fucking way. Look at this.
Run red lights and fuck. Right? For real, we don't know what we're doing. If this country was a person, we'd be on coke, driving a yellow Corvette, singing Motley Crue songs in front of our ex's house. We're going crazy!
Here it comes.
Well, it would have been so much better if Hillary won. Oh.
Look at that. Look at them cheeks. Look at the cheeks on this guy. Look at the cheeks. Look at him. This is the shit that he was, everybody talk shit about Brendan Schaub for this same kind of behavior. I was stunned when I saw this. I had forgot because I don't like Joe Rogan. I never liked Joe Rogan stand-up. Podcast, yes. Stand-up, no. It was always like that for me. So when I went to revisit this special, I was like, holy fuck. It was like it was almost like he stole Brandon's act. Brendan Schwabe. And then now you got the clear cuts, the clear edit cuts, right? That I'm going to show you now. This is kind of what got me so intrigued about how this next special was live. Because this 2018 special was filled with hard cut edits. So much so that I legitimately was like, I don't think this guy can do it. So let's see. I'm going to show you right now a very hard edit. And this is one of many I'm going to show you.
You're sexist. Oh, diffuse my point of view. I am sexist. But I'm sexist against men. I decided to...
You see that right there? You see that his body position was completely different. The mic's gone up at a different spot. His cadence of voice was off. Watch, you'll see. Well, I'm going to show you this one more time.
Oh, diffuse my point of view. I am sexist.
Watch.
But I'm sexist against men.
Right here.
I decided during this whole Harvey Weinstein thing.
You see that? You can tell that the whole cadence was off. You know what I mean? And that's right there because this special is not supposed to be live. So really, that's kind of on the editor. Whoever edited this is a fucking ape-off. And that's the kind of... So that's one cut right there. That's 6 minutes in. 10 minutes and 20 seconds in, there's another very hard cut. And you'll see. I'm going to show it to you now. These hard cuts are no joke.
I like to watch it without the
Watch his
sound
hand
on. So it's like almost like watching a wildlife program. Just watch him move around. I was watching it once.
You see that?
Kelly was...
That now, you have to pay attention to it close. I'm an editor, so I catch this stuff. In the one part of the sentence, his hand's kind of like all the way up here. And then in the very next frame, his hand's like down here. When you're cutting like that, that would be like a glitch, you know what I mean? Unless it was edited from 2 different times where it was said. Hence the 2 to 3 different takes that I was talking about. This is the kind of shit that got me real... Like, I was hyped for the new special for a lot of different reasons than everybody else. So that's another hard cut right there. We got the next hard cut. Oh, look at this. Not even. Remember I was talking about that Brendan Schwab type behavior? We got this. Joe is getting ready to bust out his tit in the middle of this goddamn special.
It's cute. You can see
this
some
monstrosity.
Tit. You can see some middle tit. You might even see some side tit if you catch. She's pointing at something. She might just. I didn't even know you were looking at my side tit. She just pretend. But long as you don't show the dirty, dirty dark skin.
Look at this. Joe looking like a fucking thumb right now, dude. Like like that's Joe Rogan right there. If you're watching, that I just gave you exactly prime example of what Joe Rogan looks like from afar. And this guy's busting out that goddamn fucking Neanderthal titty. That's how I hate the way he says it on his show. Neanderthal. I'm a Neanderthal. And there's so much stuff wrong with this frame. Like, look, this is something I wanted to point out too. Let's forget about the boob. I'm going to try to get the nipple out the frame because it's jarring. This cuff. These cuffs right here. This shit ain't been cool since like the 90s, my friend. I'm telling you right now. This guy walks up to the stage for this special. I think that he's done this like every special. He wears a button-up shirt, got a couple buttons up top not done to get the hamburger meat on the chest out. You know what I mean? Get that chest hair popping. Not the worst look, especially for a short, bald guy like Joe with the muscles and shit. That's understandable, right? It's the cuffs that get me. This guy does the unbuttoned cuffs. Like that's like some meta cool guy shit. Like, you know what I mean? That's like, you ever meet somebody and you're like, yo, you a cool guy, man? And they're like, yeah, I'm a cool guy. And you're like, yo, cool people never say shit like that. This is like the fashion choice equivalent to that. Like, cool people would never wear shit like that. But people wear shit like that to try to be cool. And that's where they fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what that's for. You know? And he does it in the next special. Wait until you see that shit. In the next special, he's got a yellow shirt and he does the same shit. Now, let's go to some mumbling, some very hard mumbling. 35 minutes in, this guy, and we already heard some good mumbling already, right? But it gets even worse than that somehow. And trust me, this is behavior that he's going to carry on with him into the new special when we go to check that out as well. But watch this crazy mumble fest.
We went to see Joe Rogan and he hates gays and cats. I am currently blogging about it.
Actually, let me stop right there and just to make a note of this. That voice is stolen from Jordan Peele. If you've ever seen Key and Peele even one time, you would know where that's from. It's what was her name? He did like the girl had some weird name like Iphany or something like that, but Jordan Peele had a character in Key and Peele where he dressed up like a woman and he talked exactly like that. Like, this is like some Dane Cook level robbery, right? But I digress. We're supposed to be focusing on the mumbling.
None of this is true. I love gay people and I have cats and my cats are fluffy, which is gay. I have gay things that I love. I listen to Miley Cyrus music right before I got on stage tonight.
Mumble number one. I've been listening to Miley Cyrus right before I got on stage tonight. Let's listen to that again.
My cats are fluffy, which is gay. I have gay things that I love. I listen to Miley Cyrus music right before I got on stage tonight.
Boom.
There's plenty of gay things I love.
One more.
I have those Monsanto GMO cats.
I got those GMO cats. This guy is supposed to be a professional stand-up. Mind you, this is 2018. By this time, he'd been doing stand-up for like fucking 20 years. Bro. This is a little sus to me. I don't know about you, but this doesn't seem like one of the top comics in the world. You know, it just doesn't seem like that to me. And let's check it out. Another hard cut. What is that? 38 minutes and about 45-ish, right? 38:45. Let's check that time code. 38:59. So another hard cut we got right here.
Live a long life. You got a pet cat and a pet hamster. That hamster's got an hour to live. And that's just because your cat's gonna torture it for 59 minutes. That poor little fucker's like, oh, I think he's done. Finally, it's gonna let me get away.
That one was really bad. Like, you could even hear that one. That's how bad that cut was. Whoever edited this guy's special is a fucking crack job, dude. Like, send this guy to fucking jail. That is some of the worst fucking editing. Like, I taught myself how to edit on fucking YouTube and I could edit better than that. Holy shit. And let's check out that cut again. That was a hard one even to listen to. But to watch that cut is even rougher. His body language is over here in one part of it. He's all the way over here in the next part. You hear the audio, hard cut into that shit. Check this out.
To live. And that's just because your cat's going to torture it for 59 minutes. That poor little fucker's like, oh, I think he's done. Finally, it's going to let me get away.
That is rough, dude. That is fucking rough. Those hard cuts, man. I think, so that's just this special, right? That's just this one. Let's go to the next. Let's go to the new special. You know, we're going to go to the new special and check some of that out. It's a lot of the same stuff. I'm talking the same exact stuff. Remember before, let's do a small recap of kind of what Joe's working with here. We got the mumbling, right? We got the old washed up premises that are coming from his podcast. Once again, if you've watched enough episodes of that show, you've seen a good chunk of his act. Now, will he do it in the next one? Yes. He will. The mumbling. The bad shirt. The yelling. Like ripping off Sam Kinison, who's another shitty comic. I don't know why these comics like that guy so much. The mumbling of it's all there. All the same shit from the last special that was bad is just as bad in this one. But what made it even worse was that a lot of people who tried to watch it live, myself included, got like a really shitty live feed. It was glitching the entire time. Like I even screen recorded it because I screen recorded the live because I was like, hey, he's going to fuck up. With how many edits there were in the last special, I was like, he's going to fuck up and he's going to bomb. And I'm going to record that shit because Netflix is going to edit the fuck out of it when they repost it. And I want the real shit that was up. So I even tried screen recording it just to have that. And it was so bad. I had to toss the screen recording out because there were parts, it might even glitch now when we try to watch it. Because the next day when I tried to time code it, it was glitching then. And I'm talking like hardcore buffering, like somebody with a shitty Wi-Fi connection trying to stream to Twitch. Like it was bad. So hopefully it's not, as bad when we watch it right now. But the special itself is fucking terrible. Let's check out this little intro we got going on. Very shitty music. It almost sounds like something that you would hear when you walk into like a Red Robin's. So right out the gate, we're off to a bad start. Listen to that. Yes, one bacon double cheeseburger, please. Steak fries, yes, yeah. Side of ketchup?
Now, live
yes, thank
from
you.
San Antonio.
Water, please.
It's Joe Rogan.
Now, right there.
What the fuck is happening?
Oh, look, Joe Rogan, what the fuck is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, we're so happy it's live and it's Joe Rogan. Yes. Yes. And now, right out the gate, you can see we have a button-up shirt with unbuttoned cuffs, ladies and gentlemen. That right out the rip, nothing's changed, right? That's a bad sign to me. That's a very bad sign to me. If you're wearing like practically the same exact outfit from your last special, that shows me, the viewer, the audience, that you're kind of like stuck in this like time capsule in your mind. That you're like stuck in those heydays. Like you're almost like a guy who was like varsity football in high school, graduated, was a loser, but is still living in those times. It doesn't scream progress to me. The only thing that's changed in this outfit is the color of the shoes and the color of the shirt. That's it. So right away, anyone who's watching, who's like paid attention to Joe in the past, right away they're thinking, am I in for the same exact shit? And if your guess to that was yes, you'd be right. So it's the same stuff. Joe coming in at a whopping 5'6". Yes. He looks so fucking happy. You know what I mean? And I guess I'm happy for him, right? But anyone watching, I mean, you got to be pissed. You got to be pissed off of that. Like when I started watching this, I was like, what the fuck is happening here? Right out the gate, we're already talking like early 2000s comedy Joe Rogan. He starts making like weed jokes. You know when comedians, they make those weed jokes, they go, and they go, oh, I just came up with an epiphany, right? That's such an outdated type of joke, you know? Those like weed epiphany jokes were only funny when weed was illegal. And granted, it's not legal everywhere, but it's legal in enough places to where like nobody gives a shit. You know what I mean? Like getting high is not as funny as it used to be when it was like this forbidden fruit kind of thing. You know what I mean? And for him to start the special out with this like weed epiphany joke, he legitimately goes and then says like the punchline of the joke. You know what I mean? It's like the most hack shit ever, dude. But watch this.
This is my new home state. I've been living here for 4 years. I fucking love it. I love it here. I'm never moving. The only adjustment I've ever had to make is Texas weed. You think it's the same? Texas weed is different.
Texas weed is different, folks. It's not the same. It's different. Why? Because it's shittier. Is it because it's worse than California weed? Is that why it's different? The punchline is so bad to this. He's like, it's different because it's grown on Indian burial ground soil. You know, sorry for anyone that I ruined that punchline for. You know what I mean? But trust me, it's not all that great. And look, we're less than 2 minutes in, folks. And look at that fucking tit sweat already, goddammit. I'm telling you, by the end of this thing, that motherfucker's gonna be fucking drenched. I'm telling you. Now let's listen to this oh so funny punchline.
Weed is grown on Texas soil. And I believe this soil has memories.
Oh, here it comes. The puff.
Because if you smoke too much Texas weed, you're like, we gotta give this land back.
Oh, dude. Come on, man. That's some bullshit. Like this, like I said, this is like early 2000s humor here, man. Like these are very outdated jokes right out the rip. Now, remember last time there were a couple points that I brought up. I keep bringing them up. The mumbling, the fear factor, the yelling, the outdated premises, recycling shit that you heard from the podcast. All these combined make the perfect shit special. And less than 5 minutes in, well, no, not less than 10 minutes in, I should say. It's actually a little after 5 minutes in. We already start hearing, well, I was the host of Fear Factor. Like we didn't see that one coming.
Maybe that's how they get our DNA, you know? That's how they get cum out of donkeys. I used to host Fear Factor.
There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I used to host Fear Factor. None of us saw that one coming. None of us saw that one coming, folks. Did you know Joe used to host Fear Factor? I didn't know Joe Rogan used to host Fear Factor. Actually, to this, I've watched literally almost every episode for the past 3 years. I had no idea this guy hosted Fear Factor. So, you know, right out, and he continues on to go about like this jizz donkey joke, right? So that's one right there. That's one of like the 6 points that I made. The 6 tenets of Joe Rogan's special. That's one of them. The fear factor, right? Now he goes on. This joke is him telling a story about how Fear Factor got canceled for them making contestants drink cum on camera, right? We've all heard this on the podcast.
And thank you very much. Thank you very much. Here's a true story. Fear Factor was canceled because we made people drink donkey cum. So I think I'm the only guy in the history of Hollywood that lost a job because people had to drink cum. Usually that's how you get a job.
Oh. I mean, come on, dude. That's like, I heard that story countless times. I can't even tell you how many times I've heard that goddamn story, right? So we're already off to a bad start here. A very bad start. And mind you, we're less than 10 minutes. This is less than 10 minutes into the episode. We got the yelling. We got the fear factor. We got the old stories from the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. What are we missing? We're missing a good old... Wait, what are we missing? Well, what are we missing here? Oh, yeah. Old washed up premises. Watch this guy talk about COVID. This is like one of the bigger jokes in the special.
They're watching. If they were going to come, I think they would have come during COVID. You know, it's just good to see everybody having a good time. The country's almost back to normal before World War III.
You see that? We got to go back to that. I'm going to zoom in on his face after he does it. Look at that awkward laugh. He's because he even has to know in his head, like, why am I talking about COVID? Like, what's the point of me talking to this? We're so over this shit. Like, they could go on the news tonight and say that they just came out with the worst, deadliest strain of COVID that has ever existed. Nobody would care. We're all over that shit. So the jokes, they're not landing anymore, buddy. I mean, they're really not landing. They're gone, okay? Like, we're over this shit. Let's listen to a little bit more of this. Listen to this laugh. If they were going to come, I think they would have come during COVID. You know, it's just good to see everybody having a good time. The country's almost back to normal before World War III. Look at it. Right after that laugh.
COVID was just so...
He sees it. He knows. Let's stay zoomed in and go back a little bit.
Come during COVID. You know, it's just good to see everybody having a good time. The country's almost back to normal before World War III.
You see that? He's worried. He's like, dude, this isn't going as smoothly as I thought it would. He's fucking sweating. Metaphorically and physically. Like I said, by the end of this special, that yellow shirt is going to be looking a little dark, my friend. It's going to be wet, okay? Very wet. Now we got, like 4 of the 5 or 6 Joe Rogan tenets that we need to make the perfect shitty special, right? Let's check out a little bit of the mumbling of the words. Mind you, we are still... less than 10 minutes in, he's hit every single shitty point that he possibly could from the last. This guy has made no progress from the last fucking special. Watch this.
I just made that up, but doesn't it make sense? You believed me. It tracks. Men are so gross. You can't even sit up in front of a camera with a computer with a webcam pointed at us.
God damn, what the fuck was that, dude? That is fucking bad. Let's listen to that one. This guy, I mean, he really fucking tripped over that one. Listen to this.
Men are so gross. You can't even sit up in front of a camera with a computer with a webcam pointed at us. What the fuck?
What the fuck was that, dude? This guy fucking... Dude, he sounds like Joe Biden, right? He's always making fun of Joe Biden. This guy is mumbling like he sounds like he's in the middle of debating Donald Trump right now. This guy sounds insane, bro. He might have smoked a couple too many doobies before he got on stage, if you ask me. He's fucking flailing this. Look at his face right now. He is fucking like, God damn, I'm fucking hurting. He is fucking hurting. This guy is hurting.
Without a guy thinking.
I really got to work on the sensitivity of this goddamn mouse button. That shit is fucking me up. All right, let's check out this next time code. Oh, I forgot about this. Live special. You can't edit this stuff out, right? Joe ends up getting a heckler in the middle of this live special. And it's so funny. Like, the way that some of these comedians handle hecklers. To me, if you handle a heckler by immediately attacking them, you already lost, in my opinion. Like, if you're not confident enough in your stand-up to where, like, if somebody tries to throw a wrench in your act, you can't figure out a way to, like, make lemonade out of those lemons that are thrown at you. That's a fucking problem. Like, to resort to attacking the person that's heckling, maybe if they keep doing it or something like that. But in my opinion, if you're a real good stand-up, you'll find a way to, like, have fun with it. And yeah, you might twist it around on them to kind of make them look stupid, but not by personally attacking them or making them look like a complete dipshit. Joe gets this heckler, and he starts fucking lacing into this guy right away. Like, to the point to where I kind of felt bad a little bit. I was like, whoa, dude, it ain't fucking that serious. Like, he starts calling the guy a dipshit, fucking moron, all that shit. And he starts it out kind of lighthearted. He's like, no, say what you're going to say. You're on TV. And then the guy says it. He immediately, like, I'm talking Tony Hinchcliffe level shitting on this guy in front of everybody just to embarrass him. Like, why? Because you're too scared to dig yourself out of that hole? Just find a way to work around it and make it part of the act and move on, my friend. It ain't that serious. But let's check out this heckler.
You guys are awesome. This is fun. I really am worried about China. What are you yelling at? Go ahead, yell. You're on TV. What are you saying? Cobalt mine.
Look it right there, dude. Joe is
congratulations.
Joe is upset. Look at him. He's like, cobalt mines. You stopped the show for that shit? You just got done talking about how you were worried about China. You trying to tell me you can't work that into the act? And look at the fucking sweat. Remember I was telling you guys about the sweat. Notice how it's getting progressively worse. You know? By the end of this special, this guy's going to have enough tit sweat for everybody in the audience. Nobody's asking for that shit. I'm telling you now. Now let's watch how Joe handles this heckler. Really, really, like, chips away at this guy in front of everybody.
You know a thing. This fucking idiot. What about coal? What about nuclear power plants? What about renewable energy? What a good...
See, that right there, that's a cope right there, if you ask me. Like, that's some middle school level fucking comeback shit. You know, this guy said, cobalt mines. You go, what about cobalt mines? Imagine if this whole podcast, I was just making fun of Joe Rogan like that, instead of actually making points and trying to make fun of the whole thing. Instead of doing that, I just, every time I hit pause, I just said what he said. Except I said it like this. And want to make fun of him in this way. You'd shut this shit off. I mean, I know you're shutting it off because of the fucking soundboard. You would have shut it off way before that. I'm telling you. For a professional comedian to handle it like that goes to prove that you're not quick enough to come up with something in the moment to spin this thing around, my friend. And this is a prime example of that. Let's watch how he handles this one more time with this grace that he has mustered up over the 20 plus years of being a professional stand-up.
Cobalt mine. Oh, congratulations. You know a thing. This fucking idiot. What about coal? What about nuclear power plants? What about renewable energy? What a good time to yell that on live TV, you fucking dipshit. Jesus Christ. Imagine your whole life. I'm going to say something meaningful one time. It's going to make an impact. Cobalt mines.
See, that That's fucked up if you ask me. That's fucked up to be like that. This is what I find funny about comedians going right for the jugular when they get, and that really wasn't even a heckler. That was just like somebody just, woo, like, you know what I mean? Like a one-off thing. Hecklers really, they're just trying to ruin the show. This guy was just kind of like maybe trying to be a part of it, right? And I get it. It's your act. You got it planned out and everything. They might fuck it up. But here's the thing. A comedian will walk on stage, look at the first person in the first row and go, hey, what do you do for a living? Right? And then that person who's not supposed to be part of the show at all has to sit there and be a part of your act, right? That same comedian, if he was in the middle of talking to that person and somebody over there had yelled something, he would attack that person for trying to be part of the show. When you're trying to make other people part of the show. So now, what the fuck? Your audience is confused as shit. You know what I mean? And granted, Joe didn't do that here, but it just kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth for like any comedian that handles a heckler or somebody who yells out in the crowd in this kind of way. I think it's very tacky to handle it that way. You know what I mean? And here's another missing ingredient for the perfect shitty special. We need more stories from Joe's podcast. And a story that I've heard a lot is the Museum of Dead Bodies exhibit, right? If you're anybody who's listened to his show, you've heard that story a bunch of times. It's about this museum. They get dead bodies. They put the bodies in like weird poses. They're like playing tennis and playing football. And it's kind of supposed to show you like what the body looks like, what the muscles and all the different things actually look like in different real life scenarios, right? And like I said, Joe's talked about this story multiple times on his podcast. And we're hearing it now again in the special. This is too much shit right here.
Do you guys know what that is? How many of you have been to the Bodies exhibit?
More mumbling.
Okay, if you haven't been, the Bodies exhibit is a science museum. It's a science museum exhibit of dead human beings.
Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. I don't even want to finish it. We're not even going to finish the story. The mumbling and all that has already gotten me right out the rip. This is what's funny about this. The only funny thing about this special was like, not a funny like ha ha ha. This was funny. It was like, you know how when people go, oh, the funny thing about that is that there was literally, those were the only funny things about the special. It's like, it's funny how Joe did this. It's funny how Joe's like yelling at the crowd when it's not something that's, you know, funny to people at all. It's like odd funny, right? It's like there's like a lot of things are odd about this special. It's crazy how Joe he wants to be like this. I don't know. He kind of went like real red pill in this special to a degree. You know, he's kind of trying to get over the whole woke mind virus thing that he talks about a lot on his show. You know, him, Elon Musk, all these other different people, they're like, trans people, you can't say retard, you can't say faggot, you can't say this anymore. And Joe starts really letting that out. This was him saying the word faggot brings back like, he's looking at it like he just did this groundbreaking thing on stage, right? Like no comedian is saying that word anymore on stage. It's kind of crazy to like see how proud of himself he actually is just to say it. And the funny thing about that he kind of doesn't realize is like nobody's really getting canceled for saying stuff like that anymore, bud. Like you, if you're a comedian and you're saying that, you're not like in the corporate world at all. You don't have like some TV show on NBC. Nobody gives a shit if you say that word. But to see how like proud of it he was like and so fucking proud of the fact that he said it. Check this out.
And a lot of people say, hey man, you're a fucking hypocrite. You'll say the R word, but you won't say the N word. Yeah! Because I'm more afraid of black people than I am retards. Duh. Yeah, don't you know how jokes work, faggot?
What the fuck?
FBI, open up!
This guy has just transcended all of comedy. He has just opened up the floodgates again. Everyone's going to be able to say the word faggot because of Joe Rogan. How awesome is that? Let's listen to that again. He's so happy. Like, he puffs his chest out when he says it. Watch this.
Yeah! Because I'm more afraid of black people than I am retards. Duh. Yeah, don't you know how jokes work, faggot?
Yes.
It's just supposed to be funsies.
Look at how happy Joe is, man. Let's give it up to Joe for bringing the F word back, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I would give him a round of applause, but I mean, my hands are broken. So let's jump into some other topics. You know, the special was bad. It was no good. Oh, actually, before we even jump into some other topics, I got to show you guys how it's not just me. Like, when I make these videos, right? This is a common thing. I make these videos, and people in the comments, they like to go, "Oh, you're just a hater. Oh, a guy is just trying to point out everything negative about stuff online. You know, most people watch stuff, they try to pull positive out of it." I don't give a shit. That's legitimately the whole thing here, is to point out the bad stuff that happened in what we watched, because you see it in such a rose-colored lens, you know? Like, you need people to point out the shitty stuff about what you just watched, especially when everybody else is fluffing it up so bad, right? But I'm not the only one who received this special in an ill way. Look at the comments that are on the fucking Joe's Twitter post promoting this special. This was the day that it came out. Tonight on Netflix, let's fucking go, is Joe's caption for this post. Hide your stools, Mr. Unfunny about to start humping. I love that comment because in one of his past comedy specials, one of his jokes was to hump the stool on stage on the floor, which is some typical Brendan Schwabi bullshit. Look at this. It's wild that they keep giving you a comedy platform, seeing as how you're not funny at all. I like Joe Rogan and enjoy his comedy specials, but I have to admit he bombed big time on this one. Not worth the hype at all. Had a couple of good jokes, but that was it. Pretty disappointed in this special. Great podcast, not so great comedy. Jesus fucking Christ. Look, this special sucks. Finally, the world sees how unfunny and bad at stand-up he is. Great podcast, great UFC announcer, but that's it. See, like, that's the thing. It's not like people want to hate on Joe just for being a bad stand-up. They hate on him for being a bad stand-up and that being his whole identity. That's what he tries to make his whole identity. He's like, I'm a stand-up first and foremost. But he's not good at it. And something that people really don't pick up on is when you listen to people talk about Joe and touring with Joe on his show or even off of his show on other podcasts, they always talk about how Joe pays for everything. How they never have to pull out their wallets. And he's been doing this since he got that Fear Factor money, which leads a lot of people to speculate that he's pretty much bought his way into comedy. And there's a lot of stuff to kind of like back that speculation. Like, if I was somebody who wanted to buy my way into comedy, I would pay for all of my openers' shit all the time because they would never have a bad thing to say about me afterwards, right? How hard would it be to talk shit about the guy who's not only taking you on tour and paying you for every gig that you're doing, he's paying for every meal when you guys go out, every drink when you guys go out, and he's paying for your hotels everywhere you go. I mean, you couldn't, like, you almost couldn't say a bad thing about this person. Like, they're doing so much for you. It would be so hard for you to do that, right? So that's the way I would start. Then once I got, famous and maybe started a podcast that ended up being the biggest podcast in the world, I'd maybe open a comedy club. to where I could then perform to a crowd that strictly there just to suck my dick, and a bunch of comedians who are there just to kiss my ass. And I get laughs all the time. And then I can live the pretend life of being a comedian because I bought all the necessary components. And that's how a lot of people view Joe, and a lot of people viewed this special, which is why I wanted to bring it up myself, because I'm a fan of the Joe Rogan show. You know, lately it's been a little shitty, but I'm still a fan. I don't watch a whole lot of UFC, but I enjoy listening to his commentary on UFC, and I actually kind of enjoy watching the Fight Companions, despite the fact that Brendan Schwabe's on there. I like hearing about all the UFC stuff, and when he has crazy retarded people like fucking what's that one guy? He was a UFC fighter. He's always the flat earther. I forget his fucking name. I'm gonna have to remember that. The flat earther he has on there, and sometimes, like when he has those guests on there, it's actually, you know, kind of entertaining to watch Fight Companion every now and then. But these comedy specials, I'm telling you, they're not it. But getting into some other topics, I wanted to bring up this Tuah girl again, and not to kiss this bitch's ass either. Like, I can't stand this chick. I talked about her in a previous episode with Andy, and it was very lighthearted. That was like the beginning of it. You know, everybody thought All I Want for Christmas was a good song when it first came out. And like I've referenced many times before, nobody wants to hear that shit anymore. But somehow it's always forced down our throats every Christmas, which is what's going to happen with this Tuah girl. But the reason why I wanted to bring her up now is because I think it's honestly kind of fucking crazy how much all these celebrities and comedians are trying to fucking use this bitch. Like, it's insane. She just got done making a big round of podcasts, and she was on like all of them. You know what I mean? And the ones that I caught her on was Whitney Cummings' Good For You and Bill Maher's Club Random. Now, like I said earlier, I kind of wanted to stray away from covering Club Random because it's literally on every episode of Red Bar, which is not bad, but we obviously take a lot of influence from Red Bar. So, you know, I don't want to do the fucking whole Red Bar thing. You know what I mean? I'm not Mike David. I like the soundboard and stuff like that, you know, the city skyline. Everybody has a fucking city skyline. So I try to kind of stay away from covering Club Random, but it's so hard. Because Bill Mahr, it's like every episode, you could fucking pull something out of that episode of how he's either being creepy or a complete asshole or just like completely out of touch with reality when it comes to like everything almost. It's kind of insane. And we'll start with Whitney Cummings' Good For You. I wanted to bring this up because, like I said, these people on these podcasts, it's like they're all just trying to get something out of this chick. It's like they know that their careers are kind of getting washed up a little bit. And they see this girl who, like, you know, people get famous like this out of nowhere, like overnight TikTok and this and that. But there's something about this Tuah girl that's like very wholesome to people. And she's so like, she's such a small town girl. Like, even though she's famous now, she still has such a small town girl vibe that she kind of seems like it would be very easy to take advantage of her in a Hollywood sense of the word. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be easy to take advantage of her into maybe signing a deal that would benefit maybe you more than it would benefit her. And like, nobody's kind of taken into consideration that she hasn't even really settled into her fame yet. And I'm not defending this chick. Like, I want to see her penniless, goddamn. I want to see her actually having a Tuah to make money because I've seen so much of her. I'm done with it. Okay? But what I will always point out is when these podcasters and comedians are being skeevy as shit. And Whitney Cummings is one of them. So, right out the rip, Whitney is very much trying to leech off of this chick. And you can tell just by the way that they're talking to each other and the way that Whitney's going about things. Watch.
What do you think this is? Like, on a bigger picture, were you just chosen by God to be a star?
Oh, yeah, he picked me, most definitely. Because this just don't happen to anybody.
No.
Especially small town people like me. I mean, I was just an ordinary girl. I'm still an ordinary girl. You know that song by Hamilton? Just an ordinary girl. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Okay, let's clip that. We're making that a bop. That's going to be a single.
See what I'm talking about? Like the desperation that Whitney has in her voice, it's kind of unsettling. Like this is why I say that Whitney's trying to leech off of her right out the rip. This girl said 2 words to make herself famous. Hawk Tuah. That's it. She didn't demonstrate any type of like talents online. Shit. We haven't even seen her spit on a dick. We haven't even actually seen her spit on a dick. So like I understand why she's famous. Why it's a viral sensation thing. But the point that I'm getting at here is people like Whitney Cummings have no reason to sit there and go, that's a bop. This girl and to suck this girl's ass like that. There's no reason for that yet. She hasn't proven that she's good at anything. Like legitimately, she has not proven it. So to be this enthusiastic about her, it kind of to me says one thing. It says that you're trying to get something out of her. And it's very apparent to me that that's the case with Whitney right after she tries to tell this bitch that she should do stand-up. Like, this shit was crazy to me.
Of it.
I think you should do stand-up, and I think we need to, like, figure out what you want to talk about.
Okay.
I think it'd be interesting to go, like,
Okay.
I'm known as this. I'm known as Hawk Tuah Girl, but there's so much else to me. Like, that's what I'm trying to get to. Is like,
See, this is crazy because this girl, like, you can even see in the girl's reaction, as soon as Whitney says it, you could tell the girl's like legitimately never even had a thought about that. She's like, okay, I guess I could try it. I guess I could try it just to give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? And so to have that, like, you just pulled this thought out of nowhere and you want to try to get this girl to do stand-up with you because you want to attach her name to your flyers. And to me, that is some skeevy shit. Because you just want to use this chick to try to sell tickets on whatever bullshit tour you got going on. Because you barely know this chick. She probably would be the worst. Like, there are actual stand-ups who are actually funny who would kill to have that opportunity. And instead, you want to give it to somebody who's never even thought about stepping on stage in the first place. That kind of shit to me is fucking stupid. And it shows how skeevy these fucking celebrities are. Like, I very much view Whitney as like a celebrity before a comic because she's not funny. She's more of like a Hollywood producer type to me. You know what I mean? But to watch her actually try to like pull one over on this chick fucking blows my mind.
and I think we need to, like, figure out what you want to talk about.
Okay.
I think it's
See, look, she don't even care. She's like, okay, I guess I could give it a shot. Like, that's
interesting to go,
fucking
like,
wild.
I'm known as this. I'm known as Hawk Tuah Girl, but there's so much else to me. Like, that's what I'm trying to get to. Is like,
Yeah.
there's so much else to me. This was just my entry into the world, but this is like who I am. What was
What
your
kind of
plan
ideas you
before
got?
this happened? Like, what was your, like, here's what I'm gonna do for the next 10 years?
I really couldn't even tell you. I was content in my little factory job. I really was. It wasn't nothing bad. It wasn't.
See what I'm talking about? Like, this chick legit, like, that's how fast she got famous. This girl's like, I never even thought about what I could possibly even do other than my small town. I worked in the spring factory. I was making springs for the bay. Like, you know what I mean? She hasn't put thought into it. And every podcast she gets on, they're like, you should do this. You should do this with me. You should have a show on my network. You should. Everybody trying to leech off of this chick. It's fucking unsettling. Like I said, not to defend her, but like, it's crazy. This girl has stepped foot in Hollywood for all of fucking 10 minutes. And everyone's fucking yanking at her already. It's like fucking disturbing. And you would think like, oh, maybe that was just like a one-off. Like Whitney just brought it up and it's whatever. She obviously the girl's talking about it like she's never thought about it before. So maybe they just like let it go and talk about some other stuff, right? Wrong. Whitney keeps pushing the fucking stand-up. Watch this shit.
Got it.
Benches past their knees.
This
Hoochie
is
daddy
this
shorts.
is like what Russian gymnastics coaches wear.
Yeah.
You really have to have nice legs for this to work.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I feel like if you're gonna do stand up, this is a good area, like to just talk about like.
What the fuck?
See, this is what I'm talking about here. This is exactly what I'm talking about here. So now this girl they're on a topic, to give a little context of what they were talking about prior. They were talking about like what they find hot in guys, right? So now Hayliey Welch is this girl's name. I'll stop calling her Hawk Tuah. So now Hayliey is like, I really like it when guys wear the hoochie daddy. The hoochie daddy shorts. You know the hoochie daddy shorts? And she goes, no, what's the hoochie daddy shorts? She's go, you know them shorts that they go like 5 inches past the guy's knees? You know, them hoochie daddy shorts. So instead of just being like, oh, okay, now I think that guys are hot when they do this. Right away, Whitney's like, okay, perfect. Now she's got the wheels turning. She even does her hair back a little bit. She goes, all right, this is the angle that we can play for your stand-up. I think that this is the direction we can take it. But once again, this girl is putting zero thought into it. Like, she doesn't give a fuck. She does not give a fuck about that. This bitch, she's a small town girl, god damn it. She don't care. And Whitney just keeps pushing the shit. Like, it's fucking crazy, bro. And watch how desperate for attention she is online. Like, I hate when people do this kind of stuff. Watch this.
I'm telling you, never hold a microphone like this. You will get a Photoshop of it being a giant dick with me.
That is just that is just so fucking desperate to me. Like, for her to be okay, she grabs the mic. She goes, "You never grab the mic like this because then you're gonna get dicks put in. Everyone's gonna put dicks in it." And she's grabbing the mic like that and staring right into the camera like, please, will somebody online edit some dicks into this photo so that I can get another round of clout online, please? Can somebody please edit that together? You know, she's like screaming for the attention. And it's obvious that something's going on where she wants to turn this into something that's going to benefit her, rather than to try to give this girl who just became famous a platform to try to help her out in her career. Whitney only cares about what this girl could possibly do for her. And once again, with all this stand-up suggestions and stuff like that, it's just a little much. And they get to the point to where like Whitney's like, hey, do you have any celebrity crushes? And she mentions Matt Rife. And Whitney knows Matt Rife personally, so she FaceTimes him. Now, this girl is like hot for Matt Rife. I'm talking fucking hot, goddammit. Real fired up. So the last thing she wants is to be like embarrassed in front of Matt Rife, right? And that's exactly what happens when Whitney brings up the fact that she wants to get this girl into stand-up, which Matt completely knows is a shitty idea.
You want to come? So we're working on a stand-up for her to do to open for me when I perform in Nashville in October.
Please don't do that to her. Don't do that to her.
See, right there, goddammit. Matt Rife, who is well established in the public eye, is not funny when it comes to anything but crowd work. He already knows that. He's like, don't do that shit. What are you, fucking crazy? You don't even know anything about this girl. She could get on stage and have a mental breakdown and fuck your whole setup. Who knows? She could get on stage and have a mental breakdown and you could end up fucking her whole life up. You really don't know. This girl, you have no idea yet. She seems to be handling the fame and all that stuff pretty well, but who knows, man? Who the fuck knows? I thought this was funny because this is going to kind of transition. This is our last time code for Whitney Cummings, Good For You, and then we're going to check out Club Random with Bill Mahr. And this is a good transition into this. So Whitney, when she does these, for her Patreon listeners, they get to watch the podcast live, right? So they could actually ask questions about the guests and everything like that right there on the spot. And sometimes they'll edit in those questions into the episode for the free guys like me who watch on YouTube, god damn it. And one of the questions she got was, has Bobby Lee DM'd you yet? And I thought that was funny, and I'll tell you why after we watch it.
Yeah.
Tomater.
Someone said, has Bobby Lee DM'd you yet?
Who is
Rude. He's what?
Who is that?
Bobby Lee?
Who is that?
I love that. So right away, she's like, who the fuck is Bobby Lee? I don't even know who Bobby Lee is. This is why that's a good transition into this creepy episode that Miss Welch does with Bill Mahr, is because Bobby Lee is kind of a little bit of a creep. Like, very much so. If anybody remembers that Bobby Altoff episode that they did of Bad Friends, Bobby was getting like extra creepy on that shit. He was like really hitting on Bobby the whole time. She was clearly uncomfortable as fuck with the entire thing. Like, it was to the point to where Bobby was just out of nowhere just mentioning how he wants to see her on all fours, how he wants to get pictures of her feet. He's wondering how delicious they look. He gets on his hands and knees, starts trying to kiss her toes to beg her not to leave the podcast because he probably creeped her out so much so that she's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here before I get fucking raped, goddamn. So a lot of Whitney's fans know this about Bobby, and they see, okay, there's this new, young, very like impressionable girl who has no idea what to do with her fame that just hopped onto the scene, and they're wondering, hey, has Bobby taken a stab at that yet? Which I thought was very, very sus. Like, that says a lot about Bobby Lee if, like, fans are asking that question, like, offhand. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't mention Bobby once in this episode. And for a fan to just be like, hey, has Bobby DM'd you? Like, that says a lot about the way that the fans perceive Bobby. More on that later. We're going to keep an eye on Mr. Lee. I'm going to start really watching these podcasts with Bobby on there because I got a feeling that there are going to be some real disturbing stories to come out within the next year or so. I got a real bad feeling about it. But let's check out this Club Random with Bill Mahr. Now, Miss Welch hops on there, right? And like I was saying before, I try not to cover Club Random a whole lot, but I saw one clip of this on X and I was like, holy shit, that's like the creepiest thing I've ever seen. The whole episode's got to be even worse. And this is what I ended up finding out about Club Random when I went to watch it. So this podcast, it takes place in like Bill Maher's basement, right? Which is not terrible if like your basement is set up like a podcast studio or like a podcast set, right? But what's weird about it is he has like almost like security like they're for being like security style cameras, they're very high definition, but they're like security cameras like all throughout the basement. So like there's not actually a crew there when you go to get interviewed by this guy. So now picture you're Hayliey, you're new to fame, you're new to Hollywood. Everything you've seen and known about Hollywood is all like the crazy racy shit that they put on like 60 Minutes and shit like that. Like, oh man, Nickelodeon kids are getting fucking raped. Like Harvey Weinstein, you know, he's getting girls to blow him in the back room for movie line. Like, you know, that's probably all she's ever heard about Hollywood. Now she's in LA. She gets invited to go on Club Random with Bill Mahr. She goes down into that basement thinking there's going to be like a crew of people there. It's nobody. It's just Bill, right? So there's a very Silence of the Lambs-esque energy surrounding this podcast right out the rip. Check this out.
Hi,
How are you?
Bill.
I'm Hayliey. Nice to meet
Selassie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure you should be nervous, but you don't seem like you are.
Oh,
You shouldn't be. You're going to have the best time.
I'll try.
oh, God. Right there, I'm telling you. If a man who's 3 times your age, that's the first thing that comes out of his mouth when he walks into a basement, you're in there by yourself. He says, you seem nervous, or you seem like you should be nervous, but you're not. You know, don't worry, we're going to have the best time. Like, these are the words of somebody, like somebody says to you right before they fucking kill you. You know what I mean? So right out the rip, the energy is like real fucking off. And remember, the reason why we're bringing up Hayliey is not only because of, you know, how creepy the whole thing with Bill Mahr is. Like, Bill Mahr is really acting like a creep on this whole episode. But it's also about how, like, every time she's on a podcast, right away, they're trying to get something out of this bitch. So, you know, that awkward intro happens. Right after that, Bill Maher is already talking about, like, trying to mentor this chick, right? And it's very off-putting. But it doesn't come without a couple creeps. You know what I mean? Let's check out how creepy this guy gets right before he tries to get this girl to, like, be his, like, mentoree.
Feeling. I don't know. I never know what I'm going to say because I'm always high when I do this.
I understand.
Well, you're 21, right? We can speak freely.
Fair.
And it's legal.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything wrong.
You're exactly right.
I would, of course, advise always using
Right there. Look at how fucking crazy. He pulls out the biggest fucking bottle of tequila, right? He's got a joint in his hand. It's the size of a Black and Mild. It's fucking huge. He's got like 14 different shot glasses on the table. 2 different glasses, a carafe over here. Like, there's so much shit on here, right? She has to be thinking in her head, like, one of these drinks has got to have drugs in it. Like, I'm not making it out of this fucking basement alive. Like, that would be my thought if I was like a 95-pound blonde chick, 21-year-old blonde chick from fucking Tennessee. I'd be like, this motherfucker's gonna kill me. And he's saying all the right words, you know? We're not doing anything wrong. Nothing illegal is happening here. You know? It's almost like he's trying to, like, put that into her head, you know? And then maybe later he's gonna, like, try to cop a feel. And then when she's like, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, there's nothing wrong going on here. He's going to try to, like, Jedi mind trick this chick, right? It's very creepy. And it doesn't stop there. But let's get on to the mentoring part. Like, to actually hear this is the part that I was talking about where it's like all these people just try to get something out of her, right? And you could tell when he starts bringing up, like, this, he wants to mentor this chick, that's, like, your first sign. Like, if I was her, that would have been my first sign. As soon as he would have said that, I would have been like, okay, this fucking guy wants something out of me. Like, whether it be my sweet puss or whether it be, you know, he wants to sign some sort of fucking deal or something. Like, she's got to be sick of this shit by now. Watch this.
And that's why it's important also to figure out your next step. So that will probably come out just during the course of this conversation. It's better if it just happens organically. I find in my mentoring life.
Your mentoring life.
Yes.
Yeah, look at that. Right away, she's like, your mentoring life. She's fucking, like, looking at him like, who the fuck are you, dude? I don't... Like, this is not what this is, bro. Like, this is not what this is at all. Like, I'd be looking at him like, I'm doing you a fucking favor by even being here, motherfucker. I'm the hottest thing in fucking town. Like, I don't need this shit. And it's crazy to me. Like, every single person is talking to her like she's a fucking 5-year-old. And that's the perfect way that they could try to, like, manipulate her into getting something out of her. They go, you know, this fame thing, it's very new for you. You don't know how to handle it yet, you know? And someone like me, I can teach you how to handle that, you know? We can get you on stage on my comedy show like Whitney's trying to do for her. You know, Bill's like, I can mentor you. I can really show you the ropes of Hollywood. Next thing you know, This chick is signing like a fucking 70-30 split deal with these motherfuckers, and she's on her ass. They, like, you know what I mean? She might even be lucky to get 30-70 split on this shit. That's the way these Hollywood folks, these Hollywood types, they act. Like they all they care about is themselves getting ahead. If you got the fame, yeah, they wanna be chummy with you. Soon as that fame dries up, they're fucking out of there, man. And this mentoring shit, it's like she right away she sees through it. She's like laughing at him like, mentoring? What the fuck? I got a manager, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
It is what it is, and it's now the next thing. Because there's like so much I would love to know about being a 21-year-old girl.
What the fuck? I'm telling you, bro, this guy, that shit is so creepy. Right away. There's so much I would like to know about being a 21-year-old girl. Like, he might as well have said to her, like, I want to know what it's like to wear your skin. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking wild shit right there to be saying that. Creepy as fuck. All right? And it gets creepier on this time code. It actually gets a little bit creepier.
Like what?
I mean, first of all, you're adorable, you're cute. It's just the way of the world. I mean, you got the world by the balls when you're what? Okay.
That is just insane. What? Look at this. Imagine this fucking stork-looking motherfucker is looking at you. You're 21 years old, right? This fucking jamoke is looking at you like he's got all of it figured out for you. He knows absolutely jack shit about you. And you're not understanding any of his references. Like, this is insanity, right? This motherfucker is looking at you like, yeah, I'm going to mentor you. Like, we're really going to, we're going to show you the ropes of Hollywood. And then he follows that up by saying, I always wanted to know what it's like to be a 21-year-old girl. That's bad enough. Then he follows that up with saying, you're cute, you're adorable, that's just the way of the world, baby. I'd call the cops.
FBI, open up!
Right then and there, I'm calling the fucking police. I'm calling my manager, my agent, my mom, my dad, I'm like, get the fucking Coast Guard over here and get me the fuck out of here, because I'm going to be sitting at the bottom of a well being fed through a fucking bucket on a rope in no time, goddamn it. Like, this bitch is never leaving this goddamn basement. And watch. You think you think we're done? You think we're done with the creepy? Oh, we are not done with the creepy just yet, my friend. I'm telling you. Watch this.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to rule out network news anchor for you. But I do think broadcasting.
Okay. Right there. I do think broadcast. I'm gonna rule out network news anchor for you. He said that because the way that she says stuff with her accent. She said oil. Like she asked him, how do you guys say oil? But she says it like How do you say Like, you know what I mean? She sounds fucking stupid as fuck. So he's like, all right, obviously you're never gonna make it as a news anchor, right? But he says broadcasting. I think broadcasting is going to be perfect for you. I think you're going to do great in broadcasting. Now, this is what I was talking about, them trying to get something out of this chick. He's got a podcast, right? He's got a little bit of a podcast network that they got going on there, right? So what? Now he says, oh, broadcasting would be perfect for you. Just so happens, I got all the stuff that you need for broadcasting right here. If that was the way that it came out, that enough would be weird on its own, right? Because once again, it's very obvious that this guy's trying to get something out of this chick. But that's not the way that this goes. Listen to what he says to her afterwards. Watch this.
Because you have already a platform. You know what it is?
I think I could tell him like the weather or something.
I got it already. No.
What you got?
You need to do a podcast. You do it right here on Club Random, if you do it my way.
Wait for it.
Sex expert.
Kaboom! God
Ladies
damn
and
it.
gentlemen, we got him.
Sex expert. Holy shit. Now wait until you see the face that
And
she makes.
No, I'll tell you why. Wait.
She's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? She ends up putting her hands down and everything. She's like, dude, this guy, is he fucking serious right now? But it doesn't stop there. If you think that this was the creepiest that it gets in this moment, you're dead fucking wrong. Listen to this.
I'll tell you why. Because you need to, I told you were given this chip. You were given the chip of fame. Now you want to trade that in for something that uses that, but takes it to the next level. You have to
Now, remember I was telling you, they're all talking to her like, you were given this gift of fame. You know, you literally, like, overnight, you were practically pulled out of your bed. You know, he's talking to her like, you were given this chip, this winning chip from the casino, and now you got to cash it in, you know? So they're all, like, really playing that on her. They're, like, really trying to manipulate her with that one point of being like, we can really steer you in the right direction and harness that fame in the best way possible. Now, he's already fucking that up by telling her that she needs to be a sex expert on his goddamn show. Like, right away, you are literally 3 times her age, buddy. Like, she doesn't want to hear this shit coming from you. If she's on a podcast with Matt Rife, yeah, they're fucking right there on the spot. She's like, we can do this once a week, every goddamn week. I'm game. She doesn't want to hear this shit coming out of your mouth, right? But now listen, he keeps following it up with even worse, creepier shit.
trade on what you're already known for. That's the one thing you're known for. So you could do a podcast for, like, I don't know if there's anything from somebody that age with that point of view, but it couldn't be frivolous. You have to take it seriously. Could you do that?
Possibly.
And talk about sex, but seriously, serious issues, because there are a lot of really serious issues.
To listen to him say that, to like listen to him actually go, can you do that? You know? Can you talk about sex? Can you do it seriously? Without laughing? You know, like, it is so... It is very creepy. Like, listen to him say that shit. It's fucking wild.
About sex, but seriously, serious issues, because there are a lot of really serious issues. I mean, you know, there's one that's related to what made you famous.
Yep.
What? What am I going to say? You have no idea what I'm going to say.
I don't.
Oh. Here it goes. It's about to get real fucking weird. It's about to get real. You guys buckle yourselves up for this one.
I don't know where this is going. I'm kind of nervous.
I'm going to tell you where it's going. You learned that thing about spitting from porn.
Damn. Right there, dude. Look at her fucking face. That says it all, dude. She did not sign up for this shit. She did not sign up for this shit. Like, right away, you're telling her a lot of stuff by saying this one sentence. You're telling her a lot of stuff. You're basically telling her that you've envisioned her in this way. You know what I mean? And she picks up on that. She's immediately freaked the fuck out. Look at her goddamn face. So, right there, she's fucking like ready to get the fuck out of that basement. She probably doesn't even watch porn. You know what I mean? She actually seems like one of those girls that's like innocent enough to be like, I don't know what the fuck, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Like, we don't do that around here. You know, I'm wholesome. I'm from the South, goddammit. So now he's like thinking that he has this chick all figured out. You know what I mean? He doesn't actually understand that she was fucking joking when she said that. Like, that's the one thing I think that nobody really understands. It was a joke, dude. Once again, I can't stand this bitch. I'm sick of seeing her, but you have to, you have to call it for what it is. It was a joke. And Bill's trying to get all this creepy shit, being like, you need to be a sex expert on my shit. You learned that from watching porn. You were watching them girls spitting all over those goddamn things. You did it too. And then you talked about it. He's like fucking throwing a verdict on this chick, and he doesn't even fucking know her. Now listen, she's real creeped out now.
That's where that came. What? You did. Maybe not directly, but trust me, like that, the idea of spitting, first of all, it's gross. It's not necessary. It never existed before porn. Do you know that? Do you realize that?
Yeah.
Look, so now all she can do is try to like laugh this off. Cause she's got like another like 40 minutes of this shit. She's like, what the fuck am I gonna do now? Like, you know what I mean? So she has no other choice but to try to laugh about this. And you would think like, okay, she's laughing. She's clearly uncomfortable. Like, he's not reading the room at all on this. I would have saw her face like that. I would have like, bang, abort mission. I would have like moved on to the next subject. You know what I mean? Like, I would have read that look on her face. I would have been like, okay, let's go. Let's go to a different topic. So they do for like, 3 minutes maybe. And then he goes right back to talking about the sex show. Watch this.
Yes, the sex expert show. That's a good start. But again, can't be giggly. You can't just be laughing at silly stuff.
I definitely would.
You would?
See, so now this is kind of like a little weird because he's telling her you can't laugh, If you're talking about sucking cocks live on air, you can't laugh. Okay? They make a joke about Hawk Tuah, you can't laugh about it, okay? This is serious. We need you talking about hard anal, doggy style, girls getting bukkakied on the face, 100% serious, okay? Okay? Now, you could tell she's trying to figure out a way out of this. So right away, she's like, I'm not gonna, I can't do that. I'm gonna be giggling. I'm gonna be the whole nine. Now watch this, because this actually kind of upsets Bill. And it's funny. He kind of like almost treats this as if he's like taking the carrot away from her. He goes, oh, well then I guess we're not doing it then. As if she's gonna like beg him like, no, we can still do it. She don't give a fuck, dude. Watch.
I definitely would. I'm not a serious person.
I'm not saying you can't enjoy yourself. But okay, then we can't do that.
That's out.
That's out.
Definitely out.
But it's too bad.
Because I'd be sitting there going the whole time.
Look, see what I'm talking about? She's like, that's you could hear the sigh of relief in her voice. She was like, whew, I am so happy that he said that shit. I'm going to double on that, and we're going to nip this in the butt right away. Thank God. You know what I mean? Because that shit, like if I was her, I would legitimately be scared for my life. I'd be like, this is my story. I'm getting murdered by fucking Bill Mahr. Like, can you actually fucking believe it? You know what I mean? Now listen to this. Let's get one last creepy line out of Bill before we finish this episode up. This shit was classic. You thought, Bill might be done with trying to creep her out. They're getting closer to the end of the episode. Nah, for some reason it just seems like Bill wants to kind of like throw like some sort of sexual tension at this chick to see if he gets like some sort of reciprocation on it. And it's never going to happen. Like, he legitimately calls himself daddy to her as if she's going to call him daddy. And it's probably the creepiest thing I've ever seen. Watch.
Jay-Z.
Yeah. He's been on my show a couple of times. He always called himself a serial collaborator. I remember that.
Jay-Z's been on here?
No, my other show, my TV show.
See, so now Bill's like, she likes Jay-Z. And I had Jay-Z on my show. So maybe if I start talking about Jay-Z and I slip in, a little bit, like a little sexual innuendo in there, she might actually pick up on this. You know what I mean? This is the kind of energy that we're getting at him. You know, he's really honing in on the fact that she likes Jay-Z. Now listen to what he says. This is asinine.
I know you don't know what Daddy does for a living, but I'm a
Jesus.
I watched.
You could actually hear people laughing in the background when he said that. Like, that was actually insane. Like, the only thing I could say to that is, like, thank God this chick is still alive. Because it seemed like if I wouldn't have actually, you know, if she wasn't posting online after watching this episode, I would have thought that she was dead. I would have honestly thought that she was dead. That's going to wrap it up, though, for this week's episode of Lost Aux Media. As always, we love to have you. Be sure to catch us at youtube.com/@LostAUXmedia. That's youtube.com/@LostAuxMedia. Video episodes go up every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Be sure to also catch the audio episodes, which go up every Wednesday at 5 a.m. on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you catch your podcasts. Until next time, thanks for watching.
And hold my fart like a bong rip.